garden's great. Some people who lived in Scotswood for years didn't even know it's here.
I've been a volunteer here for 2 years. Been busy while I'm getting involved in the community garden is the food production area, as you can see here. What I'd like to talk about today is some of the green belt that the council have, unproductive landscapes, which costs the council a large amount of money to maintain it, cut the grass, etc., weed it, weed killer, stuff like that. What I'd like to do is change these landscapes into productive ecoscapes. A productive ecoscape, it starts off as a landscape area. We set it up as a habitat for nature to move in, and at the same time we plant annual vegetables into the same area, so we utilise the space twice, while at the same time giving them resilience to pests and diseases. If you can bring the predators in, which then feed on the pest and the pest and diseases, you're creating an ecological, self-sustaining system within a given area. Benefits the community. It creates more food. As I say, on these council green belts, we create meadows. For instance, a meadow with islands of vegetables or fruit bushes or trees. It can even be a forest garden. That's basically what we do design, forest gardens, and it just makes it more productive. The space more productive, so you can go out and pick your fresh apples and your fresh veg, and it's all local on your doorstep.
Well, I was born and bred in Scotswood, and we had to move for the new regeneration of the area, and it split all our family up. That was 10 years ago, and they still haven't done nothing yet.
Right, my name's Greg. I've lived here all my life, went to school at the end of the street, and as you can see here, I try to look after the property, unlike a lot of other landlords.
Would you like to just come with me and I can show you something? I think the problem is absentee landlords, and these landlords not taking responsibility for the maintenance and repair of their property, and also not vetting the tenants that they put into them. It's awful opening your curtains in the morning to pigeons. I think there's one just arrived back. You can see it on the roof over there.
Is a worker my concerns, or the landlords, how they have their property and they just don't bother to get the repairs done. As a resident, my concerns are how many food outlets we've got on the terrace, how many shops that actually sell alcohol, because we've got quite a few in such a short space of area. Fair housing for everybody. We get families that come into the centre who English isn't their first language, and despite what the rumours you hear, they do get a raw deal actually. As a resident, a lot of work done with the youth. It's not so bad at the minute because Hodgkin Park's getting renovated, but we did have a lot of antisocial behaviour. I think you've got to catch them at a young age. You've got to engage them at a young age. I think at the age of 14, 15, it's too late.
I'm part of Hodgkin Park, a friendly group, Friends of Hodgkin Park, we support the Nature Club, which is in Benwell, which is brilliant, a brilliant scheme for the young ones, old ones, elderly people, whatever, and all walks of life. At the minute, we're having problems with the rangers down there, because the council haven't got enough money to sustain a ranger there full time, but we definitely need one down there full time for the vandalism. Also, the ranger that has been working down there, he knows the community now. The community know him. He's good with the community. The kids absolutely adore him. And I think it would be a shame if we lost him or a ranger all together.
I'd definitely make some sort of like change for like the younger generation, like the teenagers and like the littler ones, because it is quite boring around this area at the minute. It didn't used to be, but it is now.
And I agree.
I would make it that there would be a lot more accessibility for single parent families, activity wise, and that they were financially better off in many respects, because at the moment a lot of them struggle. Plus within this centre as well, we've got a lot of people that use the centre, but we need a lot of upgrading in here for actually to produce what we've got. I'm doing this for the kids, but really I could do with a purpose-built place to actually do it, you know, so that we can do it in a safe environment. So I'm going to be horrible when I say it, but it's not. It's when I see parents walking along the streets with the kids in the pram at breakfast time with a bag of crisps and things like that. I want to give them the knowledge to actually say that they don't have to go and do that. They can actually, there is an easier way to do it and there's a cheaper way. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot. This is what we're trying to do in here by making smoothies. We've done potatoes today with the kids, which is simple, and we've also done OT bars, which is a good thing, which is a good snack for them to have, which fills them up in the morning if they're not going to eat, and they can have them anytime. So that's my main focus, and obviously if we target the young ones, I think it'll work because they'll speak to the older ones and get it rolled on from that way.
Funding is debated in a lot of communities in a way that you can work with young people personally, but you can't work with older people, and you can't work with single parents, and you can't do this. And I think it should be one basic fund to work for a community, and the whole community consists of single parents, young people, older people, ethnic minorities, this, that and that, and it needs to go right across the board to work together as a whole. And I think around green issues, I have to learn them from school ages, and my grandkids could learn me a little bit about it, because I don't know, I'm 50 whatever this year, 50 whatever this year, and I don't. You know, I mean, I was brought up where I had the old coal fires, and you break the fires and put the ashes in the bins and stuff like that, so I don't know a lot about green issues, but I'd like to learn. Not, you know, using all the time, but I'd like to learn.
I think in Scotswood in particular, I think we need more outreach work. I think what's happened here is because of all the regeneration work that's went on for the last 13 years, people feel like they've been forgotten about. So people don't feel like they're part of their community anymore. And I think what we need is projects and different little courses that make them feel part of the community again. A good example of a course that we ran here was a cooking course, where we had young people and families and mums coming down to be taught how to cook healthy meals, just on one little gas stove, so it was all done in one pan. So they cooked a healthy meal, learnt the recipe, then took that meal home and fed the families with it. But what that meant was kids could come down with a mother and they helped chop the vegetables. They also learned how to cook this meal, and they took it home to feed the dads coming back from work or the granda coming back from the allotment. So it sort of like, it created a bit of a chain there. But the only thing that was missing in that was if we had grew the food ourselves in the community. So we could have had a community garden at the back of the project where the kids dug up the vegetables to then bring it in to the course, chopped them up, cooked them, took them home, fed them to the dad and the granda. So you created like a community chain there. So people felt they were helping each other rather than people helping themselves to bits and pieces all the time. So I think that was something that is needed to get the communities involved again.
We joined this mosaic project, so that's a very lovely project, because actually we don't feel fast in our time there, because when you do things creative, and it's actually a nice experience and new, and something new we learned from the mosaic project. And so still we are doing these other things that we have done. It's lovely.
You had your butcher, so you can go along and get your meat on it.
the adults,
You got your big money on the front or whatever.
all play together.
This, that, and the other, little supermarket,
Seen how long
and they were
to the
always
sea
so happy.
of they
This is the art in a way.